The deadly building fire in North Point yesterday exposes incompliance of mandatory safety checks. Treasury Chief Christopher Hui molds staff training on spotting scams as an improvement measure in light of the water procurement controversy. And rival groups clash as asylum hotel protests erupt across the United Kingdom. Good evening, you are now watching Cable News. I'm Evelyn Bai. The tragic fire at Middle Apartments in North Point yesterday has left 1 dead and 6 injured. Official data shows some units in the building had failed to comply with compulsory inspection orders for the past 7 years. Jeremy Zhu has more details.
Forensic staff arrived at the scene of the Middle Apartments fire this morning for investigations. Following the blaze, the building's only lift remains out of service. Residents and workers have had to use the stairs with no clear timeline for restoration. Police officers remain stationed on site, and the water used to douse the fire has formed pools near the lift entrance and stairwell. The windowless corridor and staircase retain a strong smell of burnt debris. This resident expressed concern over inadequate fire safety measures, fearing another incident could occur. She hopes improvements can be made to strengthen fire protection. The flat where the fire originated was a subdivided flat with 8 rooms. Sources at the scene suggest its electrical wiring had been altered, potentially creating a risk of overload. Speaking at the scene, Edward Leung, lawmaker for the Hong Kong Island East constituency, highlighted the flat breach safety regulations, with the width of corridors measuring less than 0.75 meters. Leung also urged authorities and building owners to learn from recent fires in older buildings and consider enhancing existing fire safety systems, such as by installing smoke detectors to provide additional protection. The owner's corporation of the building has applied for a fire safety improvement funding scheme and will meet with the Urban Renewal Authority alongside engineering consultants next Tuesday. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Meanwhile, in a second fatal building fire in less than 24 hours apart, a roofless fire at a public rental housing unit in Chengsha Wan this morning has claimed the life of a 59-year-old woman. At around 7:40 a.m., police received fire alarm reports about a unit on the 13th floor of the Hoi Wing House, Hoi Tat Estate, with smoke billowing into the sky. Firefighters deployed a hose pipe and a breathing apparatus team to tackle the blaze, which was extinguished in 18 minutes. Inside the flat, firefighters found an unconscious woman whose face was burned. She was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment, but was later pronounced dead shortly after 9 a.m. Sources said the deceased lived alone and had a smoking habit. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Dealing with the water procurement fallout, Treasury Chief Christopher Hui promised to roll out remedial measures ahead of a review report due in 3 months. When asked whether local brands would be favored in future tenders, he stressed that bottled water from the mainland and Hong Kong is the same in quality. Jamie Lee reports.
A cross-departmental task force is reviewing deficiencies in the government procurement system and is expected to release a preliminary report within 3 months. As the leader of the group, the Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury pledged to unveil improvement measures ahead of that timeline. He suggested these measures could include training up staff's ability to verify authenticity of bidders' information and identify potential scams. Responding to critics who say the task force includes procurement head Carson Chan and is essentially marking its own homework, Hui said the Audit Commission is helping with the investigation as an independent professional third party, enhancing the objectivity of the review. Amid public concern over whether future tenders would prioritize local brands, Hui stressed that there is no quality difference between Hong Kong and mainland bottled water. It's best to let the facts speak for themselves, Hui said while citing water quality test results on heavy metal and microbes to dismiss claims of quality difference as baseless. He added that when reviewing tenders, suppliers must first meet the technical requirements before authorities take price and other factors into overall consideration. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
With the conclusion of the Saudi Super Cup in the city, Financial Secretary Paul Chan said the interaction between Hong Kong and the Middle East has deepened in recent years and has broadened into a wide range of areas, from finance and trade to cultural, artistic, and sporting exchanges. The thrilling Saudi Super Cup final was held at Hong Kong Stadium on Saturday, with the financial chief presiding over the award ceremony, in which Al Ahly beat Al Nasser to win the title. Writing on his weekly blog, Chen noted that among the 30,000 spectators, many were tourists who had traveled a long way specifically for the games, highlighting that the number of visitors from the Gulf region had risen by 70% last year, while the figures for the first 7 months of this year surged more than 50%. The finance chief said the bilateral trade between the city and the Gulf region reached $150 billion last year, with an annualized growth of 11% over the past 5 years. Highlighting the booming initial public offering market, Chen said many new listings have secured cornerstone investments from the Middle East, each exceeding $100 million. Chen stated that 2 exchange-traded funds checking the Saudi market have been listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, while 2 ETFs tracking the city's stocks have been listed on the Saudi Stock Exchange, showing a sign of growing financial ties. As of last week, the 2 Saudi ETFs in Hong Kong raised a combined market value of over $16 billion, up 30% since listing. He added that the SAR government will continue to promote the advantages and business opportunities of both Hong Kong and the mainland to the world in the second half, aiming to consolidate and deepen cooperation with emerging markets. A man has been stabbed in the abdomen at a restaurant in Wong Tai Sin. Emergency services were called to the Tropicana Garden Shopping Center on Long Chung Road at around 4 p.m. The male victim was found with a serious stab wound to his abdomen. He was taken by ambulance to Queen Elizabeth Hospital for emergency treatment. Initial reports from the scene suggest a woman attacked the man with a knife before fleeing. Police launched a search and located the suspect on nearby Sha Tin Pass Road. She was also treated for a hand injury. The motive for the attack was not yet known. Police have classified the incident as assault while investigation is ongoing. 7 people, including 5 firefighters, were injured after a fire truck crashed with a private car in Tuen Mun. The accident happened at around 3 p.m. Online footage showed a fire truck heading toward Leung King was hit by a private car traveling at high speed at the intersection of Min Kum Road and Shek Pai Tau Road. The fire truck overturned after the collision and laid on its side in the middle of the road, while the front part of the private car was seriously damaged. 5 firemen on the truck, as well as the male driver and the male passenger on the private car, sustained injuries and were rushed to Tuen Mun Hospital for treatment, all in a conscious state. Police have cordoned off a section of the road for investigation. The observatory has lifted all tropical cyclone warning signals as Typhoon Kajiki moves away from the city. While the storm has not materialized much in Hong Kong, Hainan and Vietnam have remained on high alert before Kajiki edged closer and made landfall. Jamie Liu reports.
In Hainan's resort city of Sanya, high waves can be seen splashing onto popular beach of Yalong Bay, bracing for Kajiki's landfall, with strong winds blowing at up to 151 kilometers per hour. In response, Sanya upgraded its typhoon alert to the most severe red signal, suspending public transport and flights. Over 20,000 people have been evacuated from potentially hazardous areas, and some 2,800 rescue personnel were on standby. Some 30,000 local fishing boats have also returned to port. Also bracing for the intensifying storm, Vietnam authorities plan to evacuate more than 500,000 people from central provinces and order boats to stay ashore, as Kajiki is expected to head toward the Southeast Asian country after visiting Hainan. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Protests have erupted across the United Kingdom over the government's use of hotels to house asylum seekers. At least 15 people have been arrested. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper has pledged to properly close all asylum hotels in the country. Jeremy Zhu reports.
In Bristol, opposing groups have clashed in the city, some protesting against immigration, others in support. Chants were exchanged as mounted police worked to separate the crowds. Scuffles broke out between demonstrators and officers. Police issued a dispersal order to clear those accused of causing disruption. Meanwhile, in Liverpool city centre, more than 400 people gathered in a rally organized by an independent party, calling for the removal of illegal immigrants. Over 10 individuals were arrested. Hundreds also assembled in counter-protest, voicing opposition to the eviction of undocumented migrants. More than 30 demonstrations took place across England, Wales, and Scotland, with protesters claiming the immigrants poses a public safety risk. The issue gained urgency last month when a 38-year-old Ethiopian asylum seeker was charged with the sexual assault of a 14-year-old girl near the hotel where he was housed in Epping, Essex. After that, the local council successfully obtained a High Court injunction to stop the hotel being used for asylum accommodation, a move other district councils are now considering. Immigration remains a deeply decisive issue in the UK. In a recent interview, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage promised to take the UK out of the European Convention on Human Rights and pursue a £10 million deportation scheme should he become the next Prime Minister. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Danish authorities took a 1-hour-old baby away from her Greenlandic mother after conducting parenting competency tests, even after such practices were banned earlier this year. Local authorities have admitted to procedural failures. Jamie Liu has the story.
18-year-old Ivana Nicolai Brundlund gave birth to her daughter on August 11th at a hospital near Copenhagen. However, an hour later, the local municipality had her newborn taken into foster care. Now, Brundlund is only allowed to see her baby once every 2 weeks for 2 hours under supervision. Danish authorities cited her failure in the controversial parenting competence tests that evaluate personality, cognition, and mental health as the reason. These tests have faced long-standing criticism from human rights groups for being inappropriate for and even racist against Greenlanders due to language and cultural differences. They were officially banned in May. Despite being born in Greenland to Greenlandic parents, Brundlund was told she was not Greenlandic enough for the ban to apply. Local officials also cited her history of trauma, including sexual abuse by her adoptive father, as grounds for removal. She was informed 3 weeks before giving birth that her child would be taken. The municipality declined to comment on Brundlund's case, but it has admitted to faults in its processes and is seeking the best possible solution. Last year, Greenlandic mother Kira Alexandra Kronfold had her newborn taken from her, triggering widespread outrage across Denmark. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
In eastern England, a hot air balloon made an unexpected landing in a residential area between parked cars, telegraph poles and wires, and rows of houses. Luckily, no one was injured. The balloon drifted over Bower Street, a residential area in Bedford, descending so low it nearly grazed the rooftops. A dock worker reached out and seized one of the ropes attached to the balloon's basket, quickly joined by other pedestrians who rushed to help. They managed to stabilize the balloon, which was suspected to have strayed off its planned flight path, guiding it down safely onto the road center and preventing the gondola from colliding with nearby lampposts or parked cars. On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy with a few showers, isolated thunderstorms tomorrow morning, sunny intervals during the day. Temperatures range between 27 and 32 degrees. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our news tonight. I'm Evelyn Bai. Thanks for watching and good night.